get into this season, the holiday season, it's fun to have some of the people who've been on our show the longest joining me. And, your business changes. It must change a lot during the holiday season. People start thinking about their house rather than constructing it.
They do. This is the time of year. I think you're right on. They start having family members over and start realizing, it's just not working. But they don't call me for those types of problems for another month or so down the road. But they're getting in that mindset.
I would think, especially as more people come over, all of a sudden the kid gets a pet hamster from the aunt. The hamster starts stinking up a room, and now they're thinking, I'm just going to need another room for our kid's playroom, or my kid's room needs to be further away, or whatever it could be. Just this level of expansion.
Yeah. I think we're noticing with our house, our furniture isn't quite fitting to have people over, so we're looking at what can we do to change our house a little bit to make it work.
And so what have you been thinking? I'm just curious.
Well, it's my wife more than I should not have included myself in that. But
the house is fine.
Yeah. But it's more, if we have this many people, it doesn't quite work. The kitchen doesn't flow.
Right.
Those types of things are kind of what's popping up in conversation. Yeah.
And I would think that right now people are more interested in the functionality of the home rather than things, like Jim was talking about, maybe a foundation. Oftentimes you get rain like this, it gets super muddy and mud, almost like pudding, right? Just this soft mud that surrounds your house. You have foundation issues that probably isn't what people are worried about right now. They're really more worried about the look and appearance as their friends and family come over.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to look good when they come over to show it off.
Yeah. Do you think so? What are some of when people come out of the holidays? What are some of your biggest requests? Then I guess
kitchens are big. Mm-hmm. As far as I had 12 people in my kitchen, but we stood and we all just kind of spun in circles. We couldn't work.
All
right?
under the mistletoe, huh?
Everybody came over, and that's where they stood. Mm-hmm. And I can't, and the reason that they couldn't stand there, the reason that they came into the kitchen was because our kitchen has walls, 4 walls around it, so I can't see into the living room. I feel like I'm quarantined into my kitchen, and I'm all alone in here cooking while everybody else is in the other room, or they're all standing in here with me and I can't get anything done now.
Right. So a lot of people, if you don't have kind of that open kitchen concept, that's really where people start to, is that?
Yeah, I think so. I think the open concept is becoming more prominent in what my clients are looking for, especially when we're dealing with older homes.
Well, everybody just goes into the kitchen. I don't know what it is about the kitchen.
It's where the action is.
It's where the food and drink is.
Yeah, you might be cooking the turkey
might be
or something.
Onto something.
Yeah.
Right. So the kitchen really becomes the openness. The entertainment factor, would you say, is something that people start thinking about this time of year?
It's the center of the house. And I know, like with my kids, that's where the homework gets dropped when they come in the house. And so that's where they're doing their homework, is in the kitchen with us. And that just starts cluttering the countertops and trying to make dinner and whatever else you're trying to do. It's making a mess.
Yeah. So are people looking for, tell me kind of the trends. Are people looking for more counter space in their kitchen? Is it becoming more like a half kitchen, half home office, half kids room? It almost seems like a kitchen is becoming an expansive living area that covers like so many functions.
Yeah, it's we used to have our kitchen and then we would have our dining room. But it's now kind of kitchen dining room. Mm-hmm. I've had a couple clients ask that we look at designing their kitchen where they don't even have a kitchen table. It's now they're all as a family just sitting at a countertop.
Right.
And if that works for them, that's great. It kind of seems to be how their family lifestyle is.
And if you're sitting around the countertop, I think of it, it's like you put all the food out, and you ever been to like Ivar's and you have like a thing of fries, like 35 seagulls come down and try to eat the fries. It's kind of like that around the holidays. You put in all your food around a table, and undoubtedly everybody's just going to come and come in like a flock of seagulls.
Right. Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's a great analogy.
So I would think that would be what people want in their kitchen, is the ability for people to get all the way around, have elbow space. Yeah. Maybe that's just what I want. I'm obviously very passionate about it.
No, I think it is. I think it's more what homeowners are looking for, and they're when they're purchasing new homes, they're looking for can that happen with the new home as well? Is there a possibility there?
When people start looking at maybe a kitchen remodel, or they start looking at whatever they're looking to try to do, what is kind of a time frame? People think about it now, then they probably want it done by the end of January, but that's not realistic. What type of time frame do you give people right now?
So figure 3 months kind of from when we start design. And that usually can get us through the permit process if there's permits required and stuff. But it depends. I mean, sometimes that can expand out to 6 months. Each client's a little bit different in how they go through the design process. Some people need more time to process things. But 3 months is good. Is a good
from
time.
Start to finish.
Start to finish of design.
Oh, of design.
Of design, yeah. So then kitchens will take somewhere, it depends on the extent, but usually 8 weeks plus or minus. But it usually is 8 weeks. And then lead times on products. And I mean, we have some products right now that, clients are looking for like special order tile. And those are 10 weeks out before we can ever even think about installing it.
So I mean, right now you have all your family over, right? Flocking like seagulls to your table of food. Yep. And trying to get to the pudding or whatever the heck is out there. And so now you're thinking you need a bigger house before the next event or bigger kitchen area.
By Christmas.
And really, you better start planning now just to get it done in the next 5 or 6 months.
To have it for next Christmas.
For next Christmas.
That's right.
Man, I mean, you
plan
really
ahead.
Plan ahead.
Yeah. I mean, life, I find more often than not, life gets in the way. And whether it's, some sort of tragedy that happens in the family, work, it just things usually just don't. Yeah, kids, they just don't go as maybe you planned. And we have a lot. It happens where we're working with somebody, and it's 2 years down the road that the project finally gets going. It just happens. Yeah.
Well, it must be quite the lead time for you guys then, from the initial phone call to the end of the road.
It's fun trying to fit those into our schedule and guess where they're going to hit.
Well, Paul, I guess putting those things in your schedule is so important. And, of course, your business really, as much as it's about scheduling, you really do a lot with green building and green products. And I will never forget the story you told me about using a paint that was not necessarily very green, and it killed your family hamster.
That's right. It was very sad.
It was. I mean, literally, just to recap, if you didn't hear this maybe 6 months ago, you painted a wall with a very toxic paint, and it killed your hamster.
Yeah. Well, that was a story that we did 6 months ago. It happened about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not doing that now.
Right. Well, hey, you got a new hamster, right?
That's right. My son got a new hamster. I think the story that we told on the air inspired him to want to get a hamster.
Really?
Yeah.
And keep Daddy's paint away from it.
That's right.